In this lesson, you will learn about some additional marker options, as well as markers, events, and methods that are available for interacting with the marker class. Let's take a closer look. So we'll start with the lesson code from the previous lesson where we created a custom marker with an icon. And let's take a look at some of these other properties. The first one we'll look at is animation. With animation, you can set an animation on the marker itself. So setting animation to drop, you can have it fall out of the screen on load, or if you set it to bounce, it'll bounce up and down. These animations are useful to draw the user's interest to a particular icon, but you might want to go ahead and turn it on or off and set it only for a certain amount of time, because it can become a distraction. So there, the drop animation, the marker fell down off the screen on load. If we take a look at bounce, the marker bounces up and down. And so you can see how that will draw the user's attention to a particular icon. If you had a bunch of icons and then you had, one bouncing up and down. The next property we'll take a look at is clickable. And clickable indicates whether the marker can be clicked or not. And so it will fire a click event. So right now I'm going to set it to true. So later on in the lessons when we talk about info windows, we'll be set up to show those on a click event. The next property is draggable. And setting draggable to true allows the user to click and hold on a marker and then move it around the map. This is useful if you want your users to create or place points of interest, or to modify the position of a particular location. Now that we've set it to true, we can drag it around the map. And you'll notice that as we drag it, there's a cross that appears below. And that'll be the focus of our next property. So along with the draggable, there's cross on drag. And that sets whether that little cross will appear as the user drags the marker. So you saw by default it's set to true, so let's set it to false to show you how that feature works. So now as I drag it, you can see there's not a cross anymore. The cross just helps you place the icon on a particular location. With markers, you can also control the opacity of the marker icon itself. And it's set from 0 to 1. So right now it's set to 1. And if we set it to 0.5, you can see the visibility is down to 50%. So we can see the base layers now through the marker. Let's change it back to 1 as we continue on with the lesson. The next property is the title. And a title shows a pop-up when you hover over the icon. So we'll set the title to New York, New York, JFK. So as you hover over the icon, now you can see the title shows. When you're working with different icon layers and groups, it's helpful to be able to turn layers on and off. And that's where the visibility comes in. So if you set the visibility of a marker to false, then it will remove it from the map. And setting it to true will show it. Finally, we'll take a look at the z-index. And the z-index lets you set the ordering of markers as they appear on the map. So a higher value z-index will appear in front of a marker with a lower value. Markers by default are displayed based on their vertical position. So markers that appear lower on the screen will appear in front of markers that are higher up on the screen. In the lesson code, we focused on setting the marker options by passing them as properties to the marker constructor. However, you can use the get and set methods that are available to dynamically control the marker properties after creation of the marker or based on user interaction. Let's take a look at some of the events associated with the marker. Now, a lot of these events are the same types of events that we discussed with the map in lesson 5.1. So I'll just highlight those events and talk about some different ones that are available for the marker. Within the events, there's some changed properties that fire an event when that particular property has been changed. So things such as animation, clickable, cursor, draggable, icon, position, shape, title, visible, and index. They all are indicated by _changed. And then we have events that are similar to the map events, such as click, double click. If there's a drag event, the start and the end, or the drag. And then all of our mouse events. And finally our right click event. These events are useful for dynamically responding to marker interactions from the user or changes to the marker property. In this lesson, you learned how to define additional marker properties and about the events and methods that can be used to set those properties.